it's 5:30. Um, we're expecting 3 more actually. But since they're not here, I think we'll still get started first because we always start on time. Yeah. So maybe a little bit of an introduction about myself. I actually was an MOE teacher in St. Hilda's for about 4.5 years. And then after that, I left MOE because I actually had a very young girl and I had to, take care of her. But otherwise, apart from my teaching experience at an MOE school, I also have been giving science tuition for about almost 12 years. Okay, so I'll say I'm really very familiar with the syllabus as well as the content as well. But at the same time, I feel like it's really important to make you interested in science, right? And I think if you can sustain the interest, I'm sure you will be interested, you will want to know more, and eventually you will definitely do it well in exams. Okay. So for today, today we are going to just touch on human systems. It's basically a revision. Actually, it might be your first time. It's your first time joining us, right? Yes. Okay. So what we've been doing so far is actually we have been covering a lot on human systems and digestive system, but we have already come to the end, almost the end of it. So we're going to do a revision. I know you have not learned it, but that's okay. I think as we go along, I will still go through some content as well. Okay, so basically for human systems, right, there are 5 that you need to know. The first one is digestive system, right? The first one is digestive system, which you might have learned in primary 3. Have you learned in primary 3, digestive system? Yes. Okay, so I think this one is familiar to you. The different parts, okay, you do need to know what are the parts. Okay, and by parts, we mean like, example, your mouth, your gullet, your organs, right? Stomach, large intestine, small intestine, anus. Now, before anus, there's actually another part called the rectum. But just bear in mind, these two are actually not in syllabus. Okay, but of course, they are good to know. Okay, even though it's out of syllabus, okay, doesn't mean you just don't just ignore it. Try to still know them. I think it's good to know extra knowledge, right? Isn't it? Okay, Vishwa Mani. Mani Deepa, right?
Yes.
Yes, I've seen you last week. Very good. Huh. But you seem to be at a different place today. Last week, were you in the same room? No, right?
No, I was in the living room.
Living room. Okay, yeah, I could recognize that. Okay, let's continue. So this one actually we covered last week, right, Mani? So in this case, I'm just going to quickly go through it. Now we have Zender with us. I think Zender is his first time covering this topic. Like I said just now, I know different primary schools cover different topics at different time of the year. Okay, but what we do here is we'll definitely make sure that you cover all topics before you go for your exam, your end of your exam. Yeah. Okay, now over here, just a recap, the keywords I would think. Okay, the keywords for digestion, okay, digestive system, the functions would be to break down into simpler substances. Okay, so functions are really important. You will either be tested on the parts or the functions, okay? So this one should be in red, huh? Okay. Oh, I've got one more joining. Okay, who is that? Chaitanya. Chaitanya is here as well. Okay, let's continue. Right. So the next system, okay. Hi, Chaitanya. Which primary school are you from?
Huh?
Which primary school are you from?
Not Vista Primary.
Ah, okay. All right, good. Okay, so I have here Zenda and Mani. Okay, Mani has been with us for quite some time, and Zenda is also his first lesson. So what we're covering now is on body systems. Okay, basically Mani, we're coming to the end of it already because we're doing revision now. Then we'll move on to a new topic very soon. Okay, so this one, the functions of the respiratory system is basically for gaseous exchange. Okay, like I said, you are supposed to know, okay, basically for all the systems, you're supposed to know the parts and functions. Yeah. So in this case, for respiratory system, the parts would be your nose, which is here, your windpipe, right? As well as your lungs. Yeah. So these three major parts of your respiratory system. So what is the function? The function is mainly for gaseous exchange. Basically, it takes in air and it also removes air. Okay, and also I think I would like to add one more, which is for gaseous exchange. Yeah, gaseous exchange. Okay, next one. So we have here our circulatory system. Circulatory system, you have your heart, your blood vessels, and your blood. Okay, so circulatory system, as you can see from this image over here, is really full of blood vessels everywhere. It's basically all over your body from the top to the bottom, right to your toes, from your head right to your toes. Okay, so main functions, okay, like I said, always you need to know the parts. The different parts of the circulatory system are your heart, which is located somewhere here. Blood vessels is all around your body, and blood is the one that flows in your blood vessels. Yeah. Okay, so the functions. So there are two main functions of the circulatory system. Number one is transports two different parts of the body. So what does it transport to different part of the body? It transports oxygen, digested food, nutrients, minerals, and water. Okay, so these are the things that we transport to the body. Then, of course, on the other hand, we do have things that we want to carry away from the body because those are not very desirable. We don't want them in our body. So these are things that we transport away from different parts of the body. And what are those things that we transport away? That will be your waste materials, such as your carbon dioxide. Okay, because we do not really require carbon dioxide in our body, so therefore we want to remove it. Okay, and by removing it, usually it's the use of the circulatory system. They will circulate the blood that contains these substances, and then they will send it to the respective organs for it to be removed. Okay, so that is the functions and parts of circulatory system. Now, next one is your skeletal system. So skeletal system, of course, it's got to do with your bones, right? If you can see from the image here, it's basically an image of a skeleton. So same thing, of course, the parts of your skeletal system has to be your bones, right? Your bones make up your skeletal system. I think last lesson we covered, in a human adult, there are about 206 bones, whereas in the baby, there are about 300 plus. So we have so many bones and there are special names to the bones. But you don't have to know all. I think you just need to know the common ones, like for example, skull, the ribs, right? The skull is here, right? The ribs are here, and the backbone is here. So these are the major ones which you have to know, okay? So the functions, okay, what are the functions? What does the skeletal system do? What are some of the functions of the skeletal system? That would be your supporting the body, give it shape, okay? Number two, it protects delicate organs such as your heart and your lungs. So there are two functions to the skeletal system. Okay, one is support and give it shape. The other one is to protect your organs. Just like, for example, you have your brain inside your skull, right? So the skull actually protects your brain. The rib cage actually protects your heart and your lungs. Okay, so these are very important and vital organs which needs to be protected. So therefore, the bones are actually there to sort of like if there are any impact on these organs, there will at least be like a cushion, okay, to protect them from getting injured. Yeah. And number 5, the last system would be the muscular system. Of course, what makes up the muscular system? The muscles, right? And the function of the muscular system is basically to work together with the skeletal system to enable movement. So basically, the function is to enable body to move. Okay, so this table basically summarizes it, right? The different systems, okay? The first column is the types of systems, okay? The different body systems. The second column will be the different parts of the system. The last column will be the functions of the system. So far, so good. Any questions? No? Chaitanya, you okay? Yes? Great. Xander? Xander just changed his name. Xander, you okay? Yeah? Okay. Let's move on, yeah? So now we're going to straight away go into your, I think 3 of you actually attempted the questions. I've seen that. Okay, but because there were too many questions, I briefly looked through your answers. I noticed that a lot of you didn't do too well for the section B, right? So one thing I've seen that is common across the 3 of you is that you need to be able to identify keywords. So what are the keywords that you need to be able to get the marks for that particular question? Okay, so later on, we'll just go through the questions first. If we have extra time at the end, then maybe we might have some time for a short video. Okay, so we'll see. 5 samples of food were taken from different parts, A, B, C, D, and E of the digestive system. The amount of undigested food at the 5 parts was plotted in the graph shown below. Which line in the graph below represents the amount of undigested food in the 5 parts A, B, C, D, and E? Okay, so let us just have a look at the different parts. And I think the first thing to do is to identify the parts, right? So let's just identify the parts first. Part A is obviously the mouth. Part B is the gullet. Part C is the stomach. Part D is the small intestine. Part E is the large intestine. Okay, so the moment you can identify these parts, then you will have to try to relate it to the graph. I always say when for science, whenever they give you a table or a graph or, results, you will need to make use of them, right? You need to make sure that you make reference to them to answer your questions, especially for your open-ended questions, okay? So for this one, let's have a look at the graph. You notice that this, and you must be able to tell the heading, yeah? For this one, it is talking about undigested food. So amount of undigested food, okay? So it seems like amount of undigested food, part A. If you notice, this A, B, C, D is referring to the different types of food. Okay. Right? Okay, I think there's a typo here. This one should be 4 instead of 5. Okay, so these are the different types of food. There are 4 types of food. And the types of food at different parts of the digestive system will have different rate of digestion. Okay, how do you know that? Like, for example, let's just take a look at part A. Part A, we have identified as the mouth. Part B is the gullet. Part C is the stomach. Part D is the small intestine. Part E is the large intestine. Okay, so if you notice, let's just look at just the mouth, okay? Let's just look at the mouth. So maybe I use another color, this one, okay?